Hello and welcome back to the Wargamer and another bolt action painting tutorial. In this video I'll be showing you how you can paint the oak leaf camo employed by the Germans in World War II in its spring variant. And I'll be painting this on the smock of a Waffen SS miniature. Now I won't be painting the whole miniature in this tutorial, just the smock itself, but if you're interested in how to paint the rest of the miniature then you should check out my previous Waffen SS Plane Tree Autumn Camo video. Before we start painting our miniature, we first of all need to prime it, just so that all the later layers of paint will adhere to the plastic properly. Now I've used a great primer for this because it will really help with the mid-tones that I'll be using on this miniature, such as the browns and the greens. Now you can use any colour you want, but I would highly recommend using grey primers for this. The first task in painting our Waffen SS smock is to apply a base layer of Monster Brown. Now whenever I base coat, I always create a mixture of 1 part paint to 1 part water. Apply this over the surface of the miniature, allow it to dry thoroughly, and then apply a second layer over the top. This result will give us a really nice smooth base colour to work from, without obscuring the details by applying the paint too thickly. With the base coat completed, the next step is to apply some black speckles across the smock. Now for this I'm using Necromancer Cloak, and instead of using a regular paintbrush, I'm instead applying the paint using a small piece of foam that I've cut to a point. I've dipped this in the Necromancer Cloak, removed most of the excess onto a piece of tissue, and then lightly dab it across the surface of the smock. This technique not only saves time, but also gives us a much more random appearance of these black areas. Whenever you're applying a camouflage pattern like this, I would highly recommend having some reference materials close to hand. That way you can make sure that the size, shape and distribution of the patterns are correct. The final base colour that I'll be applying to this miniature will be one of Witch Brew, and I'll be using the same technique as before to apply some green patches over the black patches we applied in the previous step. When doing this, remember to leave at least some of the black areas still visible. You can also apply some of the dots to the other areas of the camouflage as well. You don't need to necessarily apply it just to the areas where we have the black camo. The final step in painting our oak leaf camo is to apply a wash of strong tone ink across the entirety of the smock. This will dull down the colour of the smock as well as flowing into those recesses and helping to bring out the detail. Applying this wash straight out of the pot may be a little bit too strong, so I would highly recommend creating a mixture of quick shade mixing medium and strong tone ink. The quick shade mixing medium will reduce the strength of the ink and also create some nice transitions between the lighter and darker areas of the miniature. You could instead use water for this, but it won't be quite as subtle as using the medium. And here we have the completed Waffen SS miniature, complete with oak leaf spring camo. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you're interested in how I painted the rest of this miniature, you should definitely check out my previous Waffen SS tutorial, which you can find a link to on screen now and also in the description below. If you enjoyed this tutorial and would like to see more bolt action videos, do let me know in the comments below, along with your suggestions for what other miniatures I could tackle. And I would also like to give a quick mention to my Facebook group, The Wargamers, and I'd really like to see you guys on there sharing the pictures of your painted miniatures. And I'll include a link to that page in the description below. And finally, I just want to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters. It's you guys who make these videos possible, so thank you for your continued support, and if you're interested in supporting me and making these videos as well, you'll find a link to my Patreon page in the description below. So all that's left to say is thanks for watching, and goodbye.